Yeah, we good. All right, let's get it. Let's run the zine. I'm running it.
All right, let's go.
So you wanna fight all week, but it's gonna take place
Oh,
all
that-
week. Everything got a price I see, not saying she'll go to God, but if I ain't have a mic and I work from the sun to the night, would you still like me? Not saying she'll go to God, but everything got a price I see.
All right. What? 2 days ago that dropped?
Yup, 2 days.
Hell yeah, bro. What, you want to introduce yourself a little bit? I guess.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
I'm a rapper in a collective from Baton Rouge called Cul-de-sac, and I just dropped a new song, and it's kind of hard. Kind of his hard.
Kinda, yeah. Hell yeah. Well, thank you for coming on, bro. Episode 3. I know me and you have been on the phone for like the last month, it seems, like every single day, like getting into it. But thank you for coming on. I guess we'll talk a little bit about the visual side of yourself as an artist, because I know it's very important to you.
Right. Thank you for having me too, by the way.
Of course, bro. Of course. All right, so I guess let's get into it. If you want to give me a little breakdown, I guess, just because I don't know, I'm curious. Oh, your video went away, bro.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it says your name.
Hold up.
No, you good.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to call me.
Oh, you good. But so like initial influences on music. So for anybody who doesn't obviously we'll play a few things throughout the call in the stream, but for anybody who doesn't know you right now, I guess give a little background on like kind of how you were inspired, like music wise, and what influenced you. Yeah, I guess like now.
Well, you can still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
All right, so basically, I got into music initially from going to church.
Okay.
And from church, I was beating on stuff. So by the time my mama, she just got aggravated from me just beating on everything. She was like, let me get a drum set. So I got a drum set when I was like 3. I got my first drum set when I was like 3 years old. So I was just playing the drums. Like I was into that, but I also was like playing sports or whatever. But I was always music oriented somehow, some way. So that's what my initial first like inkling of like me liking like music was probably in the church. And I noticed some things in the church I would like. So,
Yeah. What kind of things in the church?
Like, really, like, sometimes when they'll play certain organs, I'd be, like, drawn to certain chord progressions. So it's, like, certain things, like, the blues type, soul type stuff, I always, like, resonated with it the most. Versus sometimes I'd be kind of, like, falling asleep,
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
But I was always just, like, fascinated with the drummer. Like, because he used to be in the cage, and I always thought that was tight.
Dude, I remember back in church, like, literally when I was a youngin', there was always a drummer at, like, in the cage, and I thought it was cool, like, before I, like, I stopped going to church so much, obviously, when I was, like, maybe, like, 15, 16, but I always thought that was cool, too, like, back in the day.
Yeah. I kind of was just, like, I liked it. Like, it was just, I was already doing it, and it was something he was doing, then I got my own, then I started doing it at home,
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Now that makes a lot of sense. What were you listening to at home, too? Because obviously that, like, blended in a lot with what you got going on now, probably plus, like, the introduction to, like, instruments and, like, just playing music, like, outside of it at church.
Well, I mean, like, so, like, elementary school?
I guess, yeah, you go there.
Yeah, so, like, elementary school, I really was getting put on to what my parents was playing, but when they wasn't playing stuff and I was just, like, by myself, I remember I downloaded a lot of stuff, like, on LimeWire, like, Frostwire, stuff like that. I was into downloading stuff and then bringing it back to the visual stuff. Every time I download something to iTunes, I always make sure I get the album artwork. I make sure like it just looked like the coolest. Like I wanted my iTunes to look cool, but back at the school, I remember I was listening to like regular stuff you would think about because like when I middle school, like elementary school, so that's like Black Eyed Peas, like
Hell
that
yeah.
Ear, like that type of stuff. Like when I was like younger. Then it kind of transitioned into me finding like my own type of stuff because I'd be listening to what was on the radio and like what my people would play because my dad used to burn CDs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was before the making your iTunes look cool era.
Yeah.
Bro, I remember that.
he'll burn CDs. He'll make like his own like mixtape type things. But from them, that's how I was finding like the Outkast, like Tribe, like Pac, Biggie, even like local artists like out here. Like there's a rapper named C-Loc. He was like known back then. My dad didn't really play that much Master P, but he did play like a lot of Cash Money people like Juvenile, like a Lil BG, like stuff like that. Then my mom was playing like the neo soul type stuff, you know.
Yeah,
like,
okay. Bro, that makes a ton of sense listening to at least Away Game. You know, Away Game puts a really good picture to that, like both those two sounds, like marrying like them together, or like influences, I guess.
Right. I feel like it's a nice contrast. You could tell like I gravitate towards certain things. My mom will listen to gravitate towards certain things my pops would be into.
Yeah, hell yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. I guess I was gonna say, I know we just ran this like the magazine for Lively, but I was gonna bring up the little promo video too to like literally just play the snippet of Lively before we run through a few videos and stuff. To like hear that influence. Lively is like a perfect example. It's funny that you just put that out now, but it really is like a perfect example of both of those like I guess like worlds marrying.
Yeah, true. But like I kind of did like a mixture of the type of stuff I'm into, you know. I don't feel like it was super rappy, but it's like my cadence is like you could tell I can rap, but at the same time it's melodic. It's very catchy.
Yeah. All right, I'm about to run this real quick, and then I'm gonna talk about how you thought of this too.
Alright.
So you wanna fight all week, but it's gonna take place my week. Everything got a price I see, not saying shit go to God, but if I ain't have a mic and I work from the sun to the night, would you still like me? Like saying shit go to God, but everything got a.
Oh yeah, I love that little promo video. Design wise, did you come up with that whole concept, like design wise?
Oh yeah, so basically my homie Bo in California, we got on Zoom and he was just like, he showed me his screen and he was like, all right, so what you want? So we was just going through like every font, like on his laptop. I was going through, I already had like the cloud backdrop, like that was shot on VHS, I already had that. And initially it was just a solid color, like we had it like purple, I think. Like the backdrop was purple, then he put the text, and I showed him like a reference video of like back in the day when you was watching TV, they had the infomercials and like how it would pop up on the screen, like a compilation album, like the 90s greatest hits or the best rock and roll of the 70s, like stuff like that. I always liked how they used to look when I was on TV because when I was waiting for commercials, that's all they would play, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, why not bring something that's like familiar? Because I feel like people resonate with what they have like familiarity with, you know?
Dude, I hear that. I remember listening. It reminds me of when you used to stay home sick from school and see a commercial, and it would be like they only used to play commercial like that. There was nothing on TV, bro, in the middle of the day. Like, but like it's cool. It catches your attention. Like the phone number, like everything in it. Like it feels like a, like I know, like I guess kind of like is that super important to you? Like creating like a visual aspect to like you as an artist and like to the sound, because I feel like I don't know. I feel like you can tell like there's a lot of intention like behind something like that, you know?
Yeah, if not more important, because I feel like sometimes you got to see something before you hear it, you know? Somebody can run towards you, but you can't hear their footsteps, you know? Until they're close. So it's kind of like if I'm showing you a visual representation of the song, even if your phone's on mute when you're scrolling down your timeline, it's still pleasing, you know? Because not every time somebody's going to have on the $300 headphones listening to your song mixed and mastered. Sometimes they might hear it on the TV that has the shittiest like speakers, you know? Yeah. So it's kind of like, what do real people in? And then, I don't know, sometimes I don't overthink when it comes to visual stuff. It's just like what I think resonates and like what matches. Like when I hear Lively, I think of sunny clouds. I think of like blue. That's what I think. Like that's what I'm thinking when I'm hearing the song. So if I could put that behind it, it's just gonna make it sync together better, you know?
No, it makes a lot of sense, bro. Yeah. And as a listener, like I feel like it allows you to like it gets in your mind a little bit like more too as a listener. Like you can feel kind of like what space you were in, but also it like, you know what I mean? Like if the cover, like obviously the cover of Lively, like here I'm gonna pull it right now. Like the cover of Lively, obviously it has those like the flowers, like it is like a sunny day, like it kind of like sets the scene in it. Like you're like helping put the listener in a, I don't know, like in the right headspace, like even before they like spin the track, you know?
Right. Yeah, you trying to put like in music, we're just creating like our own universe, so like our perception of the universe that we in. So it's kind of like when I'm making that universe, it's like I can give you cheat codes by making it very distinctive. Like I can make the aesthetic down to a T to the point where it's like you already immersed in what the universe I'm trying to portray, you know? Because you already see the colors. So by default, when you're looking at the phone, you seeing the colors that I felt when I was writing the song, you know?
Is that kind of, I guess, does that go into like when you direct a video or when you have an idea for a video, does that go into like the colors that like you choose, like even when like I went down to like the videographer's like editing it and like that whole like I guess narrative?
Yeah, because colors trigger emotions. So it's kind of like, it's the same with like certain words. Like my cadence, I can say something very harsh, but if I say it in a melodic tone, it doesn't come off as harsh. Just like if I'm painting a picture of me behind a white backdrop and somebody's yelling at me and just like putting about a hand motions in front of me, that's gonna look different behind a red backdrop. I might feel it's a little more harsh, like she really getting on his ass. Yeah. Like certain colors, so it's kind of like I try to make stuff that resonates with that very line or like that very thing, because it all matters. Like if it's cohesive, you can kind of tell like what the whole portrayal is, you know?
Yeah, no, I hear that. Do you think like colors mean different things to different people? Like if like red to one means like one thing, but like red to someone else might mean another thing. Like does that go into like decision making?
Yeah, because when you think about it, like since your childhood, certain like colors that you even wear, like certain colors just represent different things in your life. Like your ex-girlfriend might have always loved this color, so when you see that color, indirectly you're thinking about her. Indirectly you're thinking about the emotions that came around that time period. Or just like what your mama used to wear, or like the car that your mama used to drive, the color of that car. You might end up getting a car, be like, damn, I got the same thing my mama used to have.
Yeah.
The same thing certain colors do certain things that make you feel a certain way. So like with the music, before you even release it to the universe, you have a chance at taking people into your brain of what you were dreaming when you was making a song. Because I feel like I'm daydreaming when I make songs. So it's kind of like my goal is to get you in my brain just from you listening to me, to the point where it's like you gotta close your eyes and really get to where I'm trying to take you. Even before I'm giving you the visual. So when I give you the visual, when you hearing the song, you can close your eyes and see the same thing and be like, I see what he meant, or I see where he went, really. Like I see where I was trying to go, because I feel like all these visuals is just trying to take you to a place. And I feel like if I give you a certain aesthetic or a certain concept of color scheme, it's gonna take you to a certain palette, and that palette is just the universe I was trying to create, you know?
Bro, that's a great explanation. Like a great explanation. I'm literally thinking of the Clear Path video. Like this whole time you were talking about that, because it's exactly like I can't unsee that now when I'm like listening to that. Even, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like you're forced into that, and I feel like some of my favorite songs, I felt them more, and it resonated with me more because I seen the visual like aspect of it in the way that the artist saw it. Cause some songs I'm vibing in a whole different, like I'm on a different plane, thinking it's like, oh, this is so euphoric, and then I see the video, I'm like, oh, this is what they were referring to, and this is what they meant, you know?
Yeah.
Because we always put like, assumptions on what we think the artist is saying, but the visual is like I'm putting you directly into what I felt, you know? This is what I saw, like.
Bro, I'm gonna run the Clear Path video, bro. I'm gonna run the Clear Path video because I think that gives like an accurate. It'll allow like people to look back and be like, they'll know what you mean and how you're kind of the world you're building and like everything. So I'm about to run this now, yeah.
Yeah, waiting cut. Feel like the love insufficient, I drifted away. Give on my sleeve, shed blood for the love that I couldn't get. Couldn't fit in position while this shade still lit. In the mission, watching both sides, my eyes still hit. Bloodshot, another cop, another body go missing. Seen a mama hold her son like this world ain't drifting away. Watch they stuck in the play. When you can audible my pain like one with the waves. But I ain't drowning soon, doing why they kill still. I see that afar, looking out the window to the sky, I see a golden star swallowed in a reservoir. far we are. Get a snap, you looking trapped, don't even know who you are. Like where you at if you ain't strapped a shotgun into your car. Next to the keys, you keep the weed, speeding down in the mark. Where I'm going now. Profile 5 miles before I made it out. When in doubt, we in wave, we figure it out. Sunny California shining on the drought. I got the green. Rumba on the Palmer, smiling by my mama. What you mean? Told her I got boo plans, ain't understand like what you mean. It's supply demand to the product you seek a fiend.
That's fire though.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, like dude, like the colors, like down to like everything, like in the whole video. For anyone who doesn't know, I guess you want to give a little recap on that, what that's from, like what if anyone doesn't know.
Oh yeah, that's from Clip Path. Well, but really, when I was making Clip Path, it's ironic. I made Clip Path before DMX died, but I just always was like obsessed with Belly, like the movie Belly, because it's directed by Hype Williams.
Yeah.
And it's like it's his only film, but like his only film that he like directed, and I love it because he used to direct music videos. So it's kind of like he was into a different medium, but he switched mediums for his debut, you know. And a lot of people were saying like the plot lacked a lot of things, but it's kind of like I love that movie for more than just the plot. I love it for like the whole visual aesthetic of it.
Yeah, no, I hear that. That makes a lot of sense. Did you use like I guess like influence from like that for this like visual?
Yeah. If you look at the beginning of the video, that's Belly, like on the TV.
Yeah, we'll run it back here. I can pull it while we're here. I got we'll pause it and go through it. Yeah, right here. yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very purposeful.
Yeah, even down to the scene where like it's me and Wave in the car where I'm smoking. That's the same scene when DMX was in the car with the girl. Like I wanted it to be like really matched. Cause most people just like they pay homage to Belly by just doing the club scene where people are in the blue and like the eyes, like Cardi did it in Magnolia. But it's so many other elements in that movie that I like wanted to like portray. You know, and kind of like the timing. Like I feel like even that song just kind of puts you into like my headspace or like the pace of how every shot is hitting so fast.
Yes, there's not even like transitions that you can like associate with it. Like the entire video, I feel like it's like continuing to bring me through this like full cycle process like the whole time, and it keeps me like I don't know on the edge of my seat a little bit while I'm watching. You know.
Yeah, I feel like the video like kind of like a metaphor to life or like my life at that time. So it's kind of like that's what I felt. So I wanted it to feel like kind of off pace, like kind of feeling like, damn, like I'm really in it, like I'm in it, and it's kind of like keeps coming, like it keep coming at you. That's how I feel like life was at that point.
Okay, yeah. No, I can totally see that now that I'm like rewatching. This is why I like the visual gives you one side, but then hearing, you know, like you expand on it and explain why, like allows you to like get deeper as a listener, you know?
Yeah, I wanted to have that vibe, but really like main inspiration was Belly. I just love like the cinematography in Belly. I'm big on cinematography too, because I feel like how you capture the image is going to speak volumes to how you want to portray the image, and just the initial shot is like very vital to me. I was always into that with like a lot of movies. Just if the cinematography is great, I'ma love it, you know? So with my music video, it's kind of like I'm indirectly putting out all my favorite like movie kinks. Like the stuff that just like, I don't know, the stuff that's just visually arousing for me. Like I try to put it in my, like it's certain things that I just love to do.
Are there examples of things that you have done that you like could attribute to like things that were like visually arousing, I guess you could say? Or / are there things that you want to do in the like I guess like down the road from like inspiration that you haven't yet?
Yeah, it's a lot of things. Like, but being on topic to Clear Path, I got the idea of spinning the camera from watching the intro on the 70s show.
Okay.
Like when they was spinning around, I always liked that, but I've seen like a lot of people like remake that. So I was like, what's the way I could continue that like theme, but have it like go throughout the whole video to make it feel like everything around me is shaking versus just me in the same setting with different people like rotating, you know?
Oh,
so
yeah.
I got that. But I take like, I love trying to think. I love how really the whole production company, like A24, the cinematography and like all their like movies is just crazy. Just like crazy. Like the shots in Moonlight are stupid.
Yes.
Like I just draw inspiration from like the most random things because it's like I might see like a director from Germany or like a cinematographer from Germany and I love it, you know?
Yeah. I guess do you take in a lot of like artistic mediums? I guess is a good question. Like other than like music, obviously, because it seems that you obviously do and are not just paying attention to like what musicians are doing creatively. You're obviously drawing inspiration from others, people in film, people in fashion, people in who are designers or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a product of. I was always into music videos. Like I always loved music videos. But my generation, like when I turned 10, it was 2010. So it's like I'm a product of the 10s.
Yeah.
It's like that whole time period. That's kind of like the music videos that were out were okay, but it wasn't really like super inspiring to me. But it's like all the movies that were coming out, I kind of noticed like it's more thought into what goes into making a film, and it's like every shot has to convey a certain thing, and it's like it has to fit a certain way. And then when I went to college, because I was a film major, so when I was majoring in film in my first editing class, he was like, the one thing everybody needs to know that's a consistent theme throughout most films to make you feel like comfortable when you're watching something is continuity. And then continuity is just like, let's say if I'm shooting a wide shot of just me in this room right now, this is the shot, and I'm about to grab something from right here. Continuity is going to be me reaching. Next shot is going to be a point of view shot of me grabbing the beam. That's continuity.
Yeah.
It's going to feel comfortable. I'm saying that when I was doing Clear Path, everything is rotating and the frames are turning into the day. So it's kind of like everything is running its course. So it's all beat, but it's still continuous.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like every shot doesn't feel forced. It just feels continuous, you know? And it's kind of like being a product of the 10s, like 2010 through like 2017, 2016, I didn't really feel like it was huge inspiration from a lot of the rappers I was seeing. It was more so the young filmmakers and like the random short films I'd be seeing like on Fader and like ID, stuff like that would just be like, they kind of like, this has no like direct concept at all, but it's just visually pleasing. Even like with Mikey Alfred, like with Legal Sid, like the short films he used to do, some of them really like had no real like storyline, but it just looked cool. I always wanted stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even like the Spike Lee films, like when people would be on dolly shots just floating into the sky, like in Red Hook Summer, stuff like that, and then like Crooklyn and all that. I used to love that. Like when I was, my mama's favorite movie is probably like Sparkle and Crooklyn. And like in Crooklyn, there's a scene where like the youngest character takes this bag that she starts hallucinating because there's like drugs in the bag, and she's like inhaling them. And then she goes from the porch that she was on, and then she just starts floating into the sky. And then you can see like her neighbors like on the ground, like with like looking at her like while she's floating, and you're floating with the camera, stuff like that. I just always thought that was crazy. Like it's just like, damn, like this is one shot, but it feels like I'm moving into a whole nother dimension, like visually. I
can see how you incorporated like all types of different cinematic like experiences like into this. Yeah, into Clear Path specifically. Like now, after just like looking back at it, like I'm about to go watch it again later.
yeah. I guess you'll notice stuff, and then it's like it's certain stuff that you miss because it's so fast that it's a lot going on. But I wanted it to be that way because I feel like it's just a metaphor to what a clear path is. Like I'm into like having like multiple meanings and shit. And then like with a weight game, I just wanted to make as many sports references as I could possibly, just to be like I could do it, like I'm clever. Like I just wanted to I wanted to scratch my back.
Yeah. Of course.
Obviously, like a clear path foul, you know what a clear path foul is. But then I was just like, damn, I feel like clear path could resonate with what me and a lot of my homies feel like. It's like we're focused and we're trying to get to a direct goal, but it's always something trying to hinder us because they know where we're going to go and what we're capable of doing, whether it be a system or whether it be an actual group of people. I just felt like that was something I was feeling, and it's kind of like when I was making Clear Path, visually, I wanted you to feel trapped into my mind and trapped into what I was feeling. Even when I was on the couch looking out the window, just staring, like just smoking, like in a continuous thing, you know?
Does the color in the dark inside and the light outside have something to do with that? Like with play on like the video as well? Because like every scene inside of you sitting on the couch, things like that, it's like a darker shot versus like lighter outside.
We even put like a darker blue tint on it to like kind of make you feel like a sadder like emotion. If you know, like when you rewatch it, you'll notice it. It's certain scenes where it's a gray tint, then there's certain scenes where it's a dark blue tint. Then there's certain scenes where it's very vibrant, where we're outside, and it's like the yellows are popping more. So it's like, it's just certain things I wanted to do to show, like, even in life, like, what you're going through is going to be like the sad moments of things that express how you feel, and then it's also the happy things, like the happy colors that are just radiating, but it all comes together for a purpose, you know?
Yeah,
That's how I kind of felt.
Nah, I feel like it's an awesome like interpretation of like life and your journey, just like as an artist and knowing you for a little while now, bro. Like for sure, like literally just like, yeah. No, I think it does a great job of like you said, like keeping the listener like trapped in your mind a little bit, just in terms of like visually how it looks, and with the frames changing so quickly and you rotating with the frame, like it feels like you're stuck as well, like in the video, like watching, you know?
Exactly.
And bro, I know you gotta eat, bro. Feel free to eat that shit.
Hey, I mean,
oh yeah.
eating fried.
Of course, bro. But so you brought up Away Game, I guess. I wanted to mention Away Game too. Like I wanted to bring that up entirely, like visually, because like that coincided like very obviously like specifically with this. With the obviously the cover art being a physical painting, with the I don't know, the references you wanted to make, and kind of just like the visuals that you put out along with that, it all kind of tied in together to give listeners and viewers like an understanding of you better as an artist, I think.
Right. So your question is like why I picked painting?
I guess like let's talk. I'm gonna pull up Away Game, and we'll pull up the cover. But I think I want to go into a little bit like just about Away Game, obviously, because Clear Path was on that, and we talked a little bit about it here. So I want to talk about Away Game a little bit, and like the inspiration you drew from this, and yeah. So all right, just break it down. Break me down the cover.
All right. So I wanted to pay homage to Gemini by Outkast, but I knew I wanted it kind of to look not exactly that time period. So I kind of wanted it to feel more like, I don't know, more texture. Like I wanted more texture on the physical painting, so it'll pop out a little more than like the original painting. Right. So I kind of made it. I got my friend Alina in Russia. I was telling her I wanted it kind of, you know, just more like pop out more, like a little bit more, and then be progressive while still paying homage. Because I could have easily just had the cover be like an exact replica of Aquemini, but I feel like Away Game was different. Like it was a different layer. Like it was different, like way more like it's just chopped. It was chopped. I wanted it to look differently, you know, be presented differently.
Of course, yeah, and it is presented differently. The color scheme's a little different. Like you can tell. Like even I feel like even people who don't even know like Outkast or know what Aquemini is, like I feel like they know what that cover is, and they can associate some form of like nostalgic reference like with it, you know.
Exactly. That's kind of what I wanted to do, and then I also wanted it to kind of, I don't know, show where I felt like me and the working relationship with Wave World was to that point. I feel like we kind of figured out what kind of sound we wanted to go for, like cohesively. Because when we made it, it was after we made a first project called Home Court. And after you have Home Court Advantage, what is it? It's an away game. So I kind of wanted it to, you know, like to keep going.
Of course. No, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like I want to ask, like, so I know you said like Away Game was an example of the sound that you and Wave were going for. Like, what is that sound? I guess like, can you explain it? Can you put it into? I know it's kind of like you're making your own sound, sort of, but obviously there are influences and inspiration that you're drawing from. I guess yeah. What would you call it?
I feel like sound we're trying to make. The closest thing I could say is kind of like during like the Harlem Renaissance when people was going to the different jazz clubs and just trying stuff and then just putting together everything that they couldn't play when they were in certain spaces. Like now you're at your own club, you can play whatever you want, and somebody in the crowd might intertwine and improvise with you and then just jam out. So when I'm with Wave, it's always like it's a focus of jazz, of course, but it's also incorporating electronic, alternative rock, psychedelic elements all together to make progressive hip hop. If I could put that in like a nutshell, but it's also like very euphoric, ambient kind of. I don't really like the term lo-fi because I like lo-fi, but you can't really box it all under the same like category because there's so many different subgenres of it. Because there's certain people like who are in like the lo-fi category where it's just them with the sample.
Right.
But it's kind of like Wave or like chop a sample and then play on top of the sample, then chop that, then put another vinyl record on top of that sample, all in unison, and then make something completely different, and then be doing like electronic chord progressions with a jazz drum beat. So it's kind of like it's a melting pot of stuff. But back in the day, I was telling everybody I make like lo-fi gumbo. Like it's my version of what I think lo-fi is, but it's just at the core, it's very southern, and it's very like eclectic to what was around me. And I feel like in the South, we're like at the bottom of the map, so everything comes to us in various ways through different things. So when I'm with Wave, we're both from Baton Rouge. I know his father was listening to what my father was listening to, if not different things. So we already have similarities and differences. When we bring that together, that's the sound we get, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that's a great example too, and I don't think you can just box it into just like a lo-fi category at all, because like you can see how like certain songs could get like obviously like, you know, surrounded by other songs that would be generally considered like lo-fi, but I feel like the strong core southern influence, like obviously with like the like incorporating like electronic progressions and like things like that you do and layering so many things, I feel like it is this own version of like this progressive hip hop that like you are creating. And I guess, do you think that the South is kind of like, obviously there's a lot of music coming out from like your area and obviously like Texas as well and a couple other places like around there, like do you feel that you guys are creating like a new, I don't know, like cultivating some sort of like breeding ground for, I guess, like people to look at like, yo, music's coming out of this area?
I just feel like we can say that like just how nowadays information is just so easier to obtain, and I'll see stuff that's going on in Kentucky while I'm in BR, or I'll see something that's going on in Haiti while I'm in BR. It's the same way with like the music that's coming out of the South now. There's been different artists when I was young who was doing very progressive like things to whatever genre that they were making, but there was no light on it. I just feel like now you can show people quicker. Like the type of music I make now is not extremely different than the type of music I was making when I was 14 years old. I'm 21 now. It's been years since I was making like the first stuff I was making, but it still shares that sound. It's just nobody was seeing it, like talking about this. Look where I am. I'm literally at the bottom of the map. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like it'd be harder to tell someone like, oh yeah, like I make stuff like that too. Like I've kind of been making stuff like this for like 5-6 years, you know. But it's just it wasn't seen, so it's harder to have those conversations. But I do feel like the South is very different than a lot of coast, cause like we're like the home of like jazz and like blues. Like it's like it originated here, so it's like we already have that. But it's kind of like people forget that, I guess. So
yeah, no, I feel like people. Go ahead, yeah.
No, I was just saying I think people forget.
I think people forget too, and I don't know. I feel like people are so focused on like, oh, music's coming out of like the Midwest, or music's coming out of the, you know, like on the East Coast or the West Coast, or there's like music comes out of LA and music comes out of New York and this and that, right? And it's like there's so many other places that could be considered a hub. Obviously, like Atlanta. Obviously, like there's a few like Nashville. There's a few other like places that are like major hubs. But I feel, yeah, Chicago. Like I just feel like there's, I don't know, even like so many like smaller cities. Like there was like, I mean, there was a huge rise in artists in like the late like 20 teens from the St. Louis area, and that started like, you know, shit just started pushing out of St. Louis, and it's like now I feel like, I mean, a lot of the music that I'm listening to is straight up from Louisiana. Artists are from Louisiana, artists are from Mississippi or Texas or, you know, literally down in the South, and it's like, I feel like, there are, I don't know, it's on the rise as like a, look here, there's music coming out of here. There's a scene here that's might have been here, but now there's like light to be shown on it.
Bro, think about it like this. The biggest, I don't know, it's like we gotta look at it for what it is. People forget who Master P is, and people also forget who Lil Wayne is. Those people both came from New Orleans. New Orleans is in Louisiana. Travis Scott, literally putting out toys, putting out his own action figure and stuff. Master P was doing that in the 90s. Master P was putting out movies by himself with his own production company by himself in the 90s.
It is crazy.
Master P, his own chips and stuff by himself. Even now, rap snacks are from Master P.
Yeah. So,
like, yeah, we put our hand on a lot of things. It's just kind of like we're in the South, so they kind of want to sun us and kind of be like, well, we don't feel like musically you can comprehend everything to the degree that we comprehend it, when that's not really the case. It's just we originate from a jazz background, so we're already on like an improvised type wave. Like a lot of musicians that I know who are great, probably like prodigy type musicians, some of them don't even read like music, but by ear you can show them the song and they can jam out with you at Carnegie Hall if they wanted to. So it's kind of like,
yeah,
it's one of those things.
I feel like I mean, obviously no one's forgetting like the Waynes or like the Master P's of the world, but I feel like they forget that they're from New Orleans, right? Like I feel like now, like with the young boys from Louisiana, right, and like Kevin Gates and like the. Say that again.
We're from the same city. He's from Baton Rouge.
Yeah. So it's like I feel like people, even though like people like that, like are so like up, as you want to say, right? Like they still forget that they're from there because it's not from some place like, oh, you don't remember, oh, they're from Chicago. Yeah, that person's from Chicago. Like you're not like, yeah, young boys from so and so, And I feel like it's the same with like Master P, and it's like the same with like with Wayne. Like it's just like. They don't realize that Wayne was able to do that and Master P was able to do that because of potentially where they're from, right?
Yeah, I kind of be like, I don't know. It kind of be feeling like it'd be a backhanded compliment when somebody's like, "Oh, you're from Louisiana." Well, I'm from Baton Rouge. Like it's a real city. It really exists. I'm not from New Orleans. Like it's a complete different thing. But when it comes to Los Angeles and New York, it's like everybody. I'm proud. Like I'm super proud. Like. I don't know. It's kind of like when you hear Los Angeles, it's a ring to it. But when you hear Baton Rouge, it's like, oh, what's that?
Exactly.
New Orleans? Like,
yeah.
It's one of those things, backhanded compliment, oh, you're from Louisiana,
Yeah. That's funny, a backhanded compliment. It's so true, though. Hell yeah. Nah, but I feel like the South, I mean, hey, shout out Lewis from Houston, Texas. Lewis is fired, but he said in a song recently, South got something to say, and he wasn't lying, so...
Right?
Huh.
1995, Outkast got Best New Artist at the Source Awards.
Yep.
That's the if you ever seen the scene where what's his name, Suge Knight came on, if you don't want your producer in the videos dancing, come to Death Row. That same night. Basically Outkast was coming to the stage. This is after they put out Southern Playlist, the Catalyst of Music, like in 1994. It was the 1995 Source Awards. They got Best New Artist. They come to the stage, people are booing them because this is like the like West Coast beat, like this is like the peak of it.
Yeah.
And they're just like, they booing them because like they was like from Atlanta, they was from the South. So Andre, he get on stage, he was like, I'm tired of closed-minded folks. It's like we got a demo tape and nobody want to hear it, but with the South got something to say. And then after that, you seen ATLS came out.
Yeah, boom.
Then it's just switched, but yeah. So like when people say that, they're probably referring to what Andre said. Of
course. Do you feel like that's the case though? South got something to say?
Yeah, like I don't know. If you walking around seeing a bunch of Confederate flags 24/7. With people eyeing you and mugging you like you're not supposed to live on the same property that you're paying for, you would feel like you have something to say too. That's just what we're accustomed to. It's certain things that I'm accustomed to that I know a kid in, I don't know, Arizona, like in Phoenix or something. We just grew up different. We seen different things, and it's like it was different hurdles. We all share similarities to a certain degree, but I feel like specifically to the South, it's kind of like the people above us wanted to hinder us, whether it be having poor education or never funding the arts, never funding music or art programs.
I mean, we already know Louisiana's fucking up across the whole. Yeah. We already know that.
Put all their funding on the backs of people who play sports, but when you can't run fast enough, you're worthless because you don't have the education. But you didn't want to give me education to begin with. So it's kind of like you playing a double-headed sword.
Yeah,
so
for anybody out there who thinks he's talking bullshit, look it up. Louisiana's number like 49 or 50 in public education. So obviously across the country we gotta fix public education, but not.
Look how high the death rate is.
Yeah, how high?
Capital.
Huh?
Like in the country. There's been times we've been like the murder capital, like in the country.
It's crazy, bro.
And you would feel like you had something to say too if you was a product of that.
Yeah.
So that's just how I feel.
Yeah, and like you said, everybody goes through different things, but like, yeah, obviously. But, hell yeah. So do you feel like Away Game was a product of you and being from Baton Rouge?
Yeah. It was just, Away Game was my perception of how I seen it. Or really like my life. Because I feel like you're a product of your environment firsthand. And specifically that time period when I was making that, there's certain things that I was going through was just realizations of what I was already in. So Away Game was really just me venting, and it was just therapeutic. I was just letting it out. And it just so happened that all throughout the project, it was in the form of a body of work.
Yeah. Of course. And no, that makes a lot of sense. And I feel like, bro, honestly, I feel like Away Game is, like, so unique, like, I feel like it's very polished, obviously, like, you spend a lot of time on it, but I feel like if you really go back, like, it's not one of those things that you can just, like, listen to once and then be like, cool, I got it, it was good, like, nice project, like, you make good music, like, it's, like, you really got to go back and, like, even listen to, like, one song, like, 4 times to even, like, get what you're saying, like, you know?
Bro, I feel like Away Game's ahead of its time for sure, but it's just kind of like, I'm into making abstract pieces. Like, I just make what I feel. So it's kind of like, you can't always, at surface level, first listen, understand the human emotions. Like, you might say the wrong words in the heat of the moment, but a month later, you can reflect and be like, I see what you meant. But on track 4, I'm like, Southside Kai resemble Kendrick, a good kitty stuck in the city that's pimping for an entrance. Your favorite people in the casket. Like,
serious.
Like,
serious.
Stuck with a pencil, feeling resentful. Like, it's different battles. Like, it's like this whole time I'm stuck seeing all of this, and my escape is what I'm writing down and what I'm vocalizing. Your escape might be breaking into a house. It's just different things. And then you seeing that, and you feeling like resentment. You feel resentful for that, and you just like, why can't you do what I'm doing when we're not the same person, but we're in the same environment? So it's kind of like, it's weird. And then even now, like, I'm by my friend's crib right now, and like, you could call this the hood or whatever. Like, you drive another block, you're in a wealthy area. So it's kind of like it's right by each other. So you can't escape it. It's just like people pretend it doesn't exist. They just turn the corner, like they turn the shoulder to it, you know?
Yeah, of course.
We go through, like, you're going to see struggle somehow, some way. It's just about if you want ignorance to be blissful or if you want to wake up. That's literally what it is.
And sometimes, sometimes you gotta wake up. Sometimes waking up is better because then you realize what's going on around you and you can change yourself for the better instead of just sitting there being, blissful in the ignorance and just going through your life without, ever realizing what's actually going on or choosing to not pay attention to it.
Yeah, I feel like that's all I can do. I feel like I'm a vessel, and me being a vessel, I'm just trying to connect to a positive source, and maybe I could be the source that sparks somebody to change something for real. Because this is how I feel like I'm making a change. And I know I might just change somebody's perspective either on my city or themselves or on the black male that you see walking down the street. You might hear my song and that might literally change your perception of him just because of where you are and just because of how I'm articulating myself. But not everybody can have that, not everybody has that source. Not everybody can go to the studio and then rap or sing and let it out in a positive manner or in a way that can be heard the right way. Or like some people might express themselves in a way that's just not conducive to how you feel it is, when really that's just all they know and that's the only way they can release. That's why I'm just grateful I can express myself in the way that I can, and I guess I hope it can just I don't know, inspire the people around me and the kids who didn't have like that source. I could be that source for them, you know?
That's beautiful, bro. Hell yeah.
Basically,
I guess that goes perfectly into the title of the next project. Why'd you title it what it's titled?
all right, so I knew I wanted the project to look like a poem, like how a poem is phrased, or like even a book. When you see a book, I kind of wanted it to have that sentiment because I guess like this whole project is just like in a sense, this is my poem of me expressing everything that I was going through and all those emotions that came with it and all those multiple meanings because you could take a poem 1,000 ways, just like you can take a song 1,000 ways. And in different seasons, you feel songs for different, like, you know, you have different, I don't know, you attach the songs in different ways to different seasons and different days, you know?
Yeah, you are.
So when I was trying to figure out a title, another poet that I'm cool with, he does a lot of spoken word. I was saying I want to figure out a way I could just like have it look like a poem. And none of the poems I had, like none of the titles really resonated with the songs. He was telling me maybe try writing out a poem and taking one of the phrases out of one of the stanzas as the title. And I was like, oh, I kind of like that. So I was writing one poem and the last phrase, like ending the last stanza was Since Tomorrow Ain't Promised. So that's what I thought I was going to name the project. Because I just like how it looked. Like, Since Tomorrow Ain't Promised, that, like, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
Like, this my expression. This is what I'm getting off. You can even say that to Lively. This could me speaking to a girl. This is just how I feel. Like, if tomorrow's not promised, I might as well tell you how I feel anyways, you know? Which is like a lot of things. Even, like, if you're not going to listen, well, I might as well say it if no one else will. That's kind of how I felt. So at first it was like, Since Tomorrow Ain't Promised. But I just got into a rabbit hole just looking through different, like, poets, like, way back in the day. Like, I'm saying, like, late 1800s, early 1900s, just looking at just, like, different black poets. And then I found a poet by Gwendolyn Benet called To a Dark Girl. And when I was reading it, I was just like, damn, I'm not a girl, but I feel where she's coming from. Like, I resonate with it. And I guess, like, not only did I want to pay homage, I wanted to make my own portrayal of it. If I was making a biopic for her poem, this is my biopic. I'm just like the protagonist, I guess. So it's To a Dark Boy. But the last word could be anything. But I was just like, it's specific, like, because I want it to not just be complexion, but just like emotion. Like, just, it's different take, like, from looking at, like, the connotation of dark. Why do you feel how you feel when you hear the word dark? And why do you feel the way you feel if someone was to call you a boy? And I'm just thinking about things in my past of different people referring to me as a boy instead of my name. So it's just kind of like, it just ended up working in multiple ways. So I was just like, To a Dark Boy. This is just me, like, expressing myself.
Bro, it's so fucking raw, bro. It's so raw. I love it. And I'm so excited. Like, how do you want To a Dark Boy to be, like, perceived? Visually and sonically. And just all together. Obviously, it's a whole package, but, like, how do you want people to portray it?
Well, I feel like, yeah, like, if I can make you feel like you're in my backyard, like, if I can make you feel like you're driving when I'm driving on these same streets, or, like, when I'm trying to take myself into a different place, you feel where I'm coming from. Because I feel like you could be in Cali, you could be in Vegas, you could be in Seattle, but you're always going to want an escape. So I'm guessing to you, what would your escape be through these different tracks, through these different emotions? So it's kind of, I want that. But visually, I really wanted to kind of show what I would see in all the film pictures and all the collage books I have of, like, my parents and, like, my grandparents. The stuff I see from them, and it's just different cousins and stuff and old pictures they had around the time they was my age. But when they were my age, it was the 90s. So it's kind of like, that's what I was seeing. I was seeing different people with, like, gold grills, different people with shirts like this, with, like, just, like, blue jeans, stuff like that. That's just what I was seeing during the time. So I kind of want people to see that. And also, I don't feel like a lot of people really see, like, what Baton Rouge is at all. Or, like, just Louisiana, to be honest, besides, like, Mardi Gras in New Orleans, that's what they see. When it's so much more, like, cause I'm really from BR, and it's like I have my own style, I have my own aesthetic to myself, but a lot of the things that I do was me seeing images of my pops doing it, or images of his cousins doing it, or images of my mama's cousins doing it, her sisters doing it, or her brother doing it. So it's kind of like I want people to see what I saw growing up and kind of feel like, okay, this is a whole nother facet of things that I like. I'm kind of into the things that I like, that I really like, and I did not know a lot of it originated in this place. And it's or you can say origin spread across like everywhere, but it's a lot of distinctive, like, I guess, fashion trends that specifically came from the South. And it's just like you can't deny it, because you look at the date of when the image was taken, and then you look at something you see in a movie now, and you're like, wow, they was doing that 30 years ago, you know?
Yeah, it is crazy, honestly. No, I think that's so cool, bro. I feel like the project will be like at least in terms of like sonically, like allow people to get inside your backyard a little bit as well. But I feel like if obviously you're obviously one of the most involved people I've ever worked with, like in terms of like hands on everything, like if it is gonna be like, if you're trying to explain or show people a side of Louisiana, and I feel like if that's the goal going into it, I feel like that's what's gonna come out. So like I feel like the videos and obviously like the docuseries and like the things that are gonna be like going on, like I feel like yeah, it'll be a perfect like accompanying to the project, and allow people really to get inside your head a little bit and see, you know, get inside that world that you're creating, like musically, you know.
Right. I feel like I'm at a precious like time right now of just expressing it, you know? And then even with like, I don't know, global warming is real. And I'm just thinking about like New Orleans. I don't know if New Orleans is gonna be here in the next 20 years, like 30 years.
Probably still gonna be there. 20 years, they'll probably be there. If we stop doing shit with the Mississippi and stop rerouting the Mississippi though, that shit might take out New Orleans.
But but think about it. Everything is just getting that much more catastrophic. Hurricanes are 10 times harder. Earthquakes are 10 times longer. It's just certain things that I'm noticing, like throughout, not even just in the South, just like around us. I kind of want to show things before it's like dramatically different, you know? Even I shot a music video December.
What video?
It was for a song called It's a Bet. Like it's just something, like I did put it out. I put it on my Instagram, but I never like released the song. But that was a mural of like a jazz band, like with like the horns and everything, just like in New Orleans, like near downtown New Orleans. Hurricane Ida crushed that building. That building's gone. And I just was, every time I look at the video, I'm just like, damn, this was just a few months ago, but now that's going like forever. But this video is a timestamp of that. So I want to make my own timestamps, like in present time for now. So like in the future, when we're looking through it, like, okay, this is what it was.
I feel like that's so important, bro. Like, you know, creating like it's like increasing the lineage and the shelf life and the I guess documentation of what was, you know, here, and what art was being created and what music was being created like here now, that evolved from this documentation we have to know that obviously like jazz and blues and stuff were like originated from the South, right? And it's like, you know, now we're in 2021, and I think that's cool as shit, honestly, to be able to stamp it like that and then be able to look back.
Yeah, I like it. I feel like it'll be cool. And I don't know. I'm into that kind of stuff. Like, I just love film. I love visual things that I can always replay and catch something I didn't catch the first time. I like that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm, especially with music. That's why I'm kind of like, I'm not surprised when I put out a song and 3 months later it's somebody's favorite song versus in the first 3 days of me putting it out. That's not the response I'm going for. I'm going for the listener who came back and was like, wow, it's layers into this. You're really trying to convey like an image, and you're really portraying like, almost like in my songs, I really like portraying movies. Like I like portraying shorts, like even like a short film in sonic form. That's really what I'm trying to get off. And it's kind of like, you can't, I mean, some people can say that like I guess their music comprehension is that high to a degree or to an extent, but sometimes it's going to take multiple listens multiple viewings to see a body of work for what it really is or what it was intended to be, or even a percentage of that. And I feel like with my stuff, since it's so abstract, you have to listen to it multiple times because there's certain stuff you're probably gonna miss.
Well, I completely agree, and I feel like that, as well as like a good movie or a good piece of art or a good song, like it's like not only do you have to come back to get every layer, but it also, the good like creative work allows you to come back and experience it again, and not just be like, yeah, I understood it all that quickly, or I got it all, like, cool, I don't need to see it again, like I don't need to hear it again, like I already got it, you know?
Right. I love coming back to stuff and seeing stuff I didn't like hear. Whether it's like a run that a singer did that I didn't hear, that was ad-libbed in the background, I'm like, oh, or even a word, or you're actually saying this instead of this.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking at the whole, like, I'm listening at the whole song different. Like, I like that kind of stuff. It's just clever to me. And it's kind of like, okay, you got me. You got me.
Literally.
I'm already a critic. Like, I'm already a critic, but at the same time, like, beyond being an artist, I'm a consumer. So it's kind of like I'm into the same stuff that you into. Like, I'm into the same stuff that she into. Only difference is I'm making it as well. So it's kind of like I feel like it's a finesse for me because at the end of the day, I'm not only listening to my music, I'm listening to all kinds of music. So it's like I kind of get to see what people want, and then through that, I'm trying to give people what I don't get from my favorite artists, or what I don't get from artists that I just genuinely like, you know?
Damn, that's literally a perfect example. That's like a perfect, yeah, I hear that, bro. I hear that. I think that's exactly, like, right on the money, because, like, that's kind of where I feel like, this isn't a category, but, like, in, like, the nostalgic, like, rap world, right? Like, where, like, I hip-hop and rap listeners understand, like, what that means, but I feel like you would be, like, filling, like, a void for, like, a lot of people from, like, certain artists that they're listening to. There's, like, it's, like, exactly like you said, like, there's something that they're not getting where they're looking for other musicians to fill that void, and I feel like, I mean, that's kind of how I was when I stumbled upon your shit, like, 2 years ago, but, like, now, like, even seeing new things that are coming out, even, like, I mean, like, even, like, the Orange Skies video, right, like, with Versus, like, literally, like, that, like, last year, like, gave me, like, a feel, like, I felt like I feel like I haven't watched Cartoon Network in, like, X amount of years, but I was like, oh, shit, I should probably go watch, like, Ed, Edd n Eddy real quick, like, later tonight, or something, you know?
Yeah, and I be. It's cool that, like, that's how you got, like, introduced to it, you know?
Yeah.
But no, like, feeling like sometimes I'll be listening to a song with the homies, like, imagine if you would have did this with this. That could have been, I would keep playing the song, you know?
Yeah. You're like, it wouldn't just be like, I wouldn't already have gotten it. I would have had to, you know?
Right? I playing it back, like, why is this hitting like this right now? Like, it just keep me, like, playing it so much.
Oh, yeah, I hear that, bro. Well, shit, hell yeah. I definitely, before we end this, before we do, I did, like, a speed round at the end for the first 2 episodes, and I got a few questions. It's like a this or that, like, that I want to run through real quick. It's just, like, first thing you think of. But you think we should spin the Orange Skies video first?
Alright, for sure.
Alright, let's definitely run that because I haven't seen that in a minute. Say it again?
That's the homie. Thought I was saying that's the homie.
Hell yeah. Alright, let's run this.
It's probably a couple homies end up there before October. Just some lead up in the shoulder, but our head is when you show up to the funeral and focus on the mother as she cover up her flesh and blood. Asking how she doing, then you give her a hug. Hope this body control show me love, cause I'm buzzed. I mean the blood from my blood got me what's up? How come my girl leave me in the mud? What the fuck? Like giving my all, but they just ain't enough. It come to preacher though. Like I'ma go in hell, cause I inhale too much of this L and this reefer, bro. I don't know, you can't even say your people, so I'm guessing me and you about the same. I don't even know. It's probably a couple homies homies end up dead before October. Now that Keenan feeding calendar, what the hell is in my soda pop? Watching people walk my black ice spot, separation through interrogation. So we don't talk a lot, dig it. Why are we so wicked? Sonny had a ticket, wristed with the homies, swinging, footy licking, kicking out my ex. She play position, I ain't with it, so I ditched. Crazy as it is, but if you asked her, she gon' plead the fifth. Dramatic though we have it to be gradually inside the coat. Thinking how I manage when I'm damaged, only how I cope. Watching people panic, understand it's only what we know. Seeds that we planted for the famished, but could never grow. It's probably a couple homies end up there before November. Smoking so much weed, back then I can't remember. How did I get here and then achieve what they didn't believe? No conceived, I didn't do it, just proceed to win. It's only me in the end with my dark skin. Me and my N-words been blocks and spend time with it. I'm proud with it cause I'm fine with
it.
Wow.
Hell yeah. What the fuck?
Tonight
is up.
Put me back in, like, I need to be, like, sick in, like 6th grade, bro. Like, not even, like, 4th grade, bro. Like, I feel like that was when, like, I used to be, like, changing the channels with my, like, I have to get up from the couch and, like, press the button on the screen.
Right.
Like, for real.
Thanks, bro.
Hell yeah. I just wanted to run that for the one time. I haven't seen that in a while.
No, good looks.
Hell yeah, of course. But, alright, let's run through this real quick just because I'm going to do something funny with these clips at the end of the first season with everyone's answers. So, I want to see what you got to say. First thing that comes to your head, Mac or PC?
Mac.
Spotify or Apple Music?
Spotify.
Headphones or speakers? And you can explain why if you want.
I'll say I love both. I really do love them both. But if I'm looking at it for what it is, if I'm first hearing a new song, I'm probably going to listen to it in headphones before I put it on the speaker. Because I'm trying to listen to everything intently. But I feel like you feel vibrations through a speaker. You can't necessarily feel vibrations on your body from a headphone. But everywhere I'm trying to zone out, I'm going to put in headphones. So I'm going to go headphones.
Alright. Festival or intimate venue?
Intimate venue for sure, bro. Festivals are overrated. Festivals are so overrated. Unless you're backstage or in a sectioned off spot, festivals are overrated. Because after a while, you're forced to do what the crowd does, and sometimes you just want to appreciate that. But you got 30 to 40 to 50 to 60 people like this with their phones in front of you, and you kind of got to finesse to try to feel the artist that's hundreds of people in front of, like,
exactly.
You know, versus then, like, it's less going on. I feel like you get the stripped down version of the artist versus like a festival, you know?
Of course. And then what about on a performing end?
Performing wise, yeah, I'd say intimate too. Like I'd rather like an intimate venue because it's kind of like, don't get me wrong, I love to be like going crazy in festivals. It's a different like type of energy. You can really feel a mass group of people. But I feel like in an intimate venue, you can leave with that person under the assumption that you were literally performing to them. That's what you get in an intimate venue. You could live, and even if I only looked at you once, or even if I looked at the clock behind you, but it looked like I looked at you, you're going to think I was looking at you. That's something you'll never forget. So it's kind of like, next show, you're going to be like, he might remember my face. And that's what's going to make you come. Versus in a festival, it's a lot going on. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you might not feel as impacted. You might love it. But then it's kind of like, you could hate my performance off the strength of how the crowd was treating you during that performance just because of the festival. But at an intimate venue, you can talk to the crowd. If the crowd tweaking, all right, you brushing on this girl too much, chill. I can do that. In a festival, it's like, it's a lot going on. I can control everything in a negative way.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. No, I hear that.
I prefer intimate venues, you know? You got more of a control of your space.
There you go. I like that. Hell yeah. At home session or studio session?
At home for sure. Bro, it's seldom I go to like a studio. I go to studios, but bro, I made lively on the couch. I swear, holding my microphone because I didn't set my stand up because I didn't fly with it because I was in Seattle.
Okay, yeah, I remember you said that. All right, feature on every song or no features at all?
I rather features because it could be a producer feature on every song, and he don't have to put a bar.
That's true. That's true. I hear that. All right, getting creative with it, and then freestyle or written.
Written. You go crazy with written. I love freestyling. I'm nice as hell with freestyling, bro. I can't wait. I can't wait till it's like people just forcing cameras in front of my face and being like rap because I can just naturally like freestyle crazy, but I can really play with my mind when I'm writing. When I'm writing, I can really like sit down and like orchestrate something very crazy and intricate. But sometimes I can write in my head when I'm freestyling. Like if I'm really in a rhythm, I'll see 2 bars before I say them. I'm just thinking about how can I end this bar that I'm rapping right now, and then thinking of the word that rhymes with it to make it a bar when I'm freestyling. But that's not always the case. But when I'm sitting down, bro, I can go crazy. I feel like it's like writing is a cheat code.
Writing is a cheat code, honestly. Hell yeah.
Right. I feel like I'm a writer.
Yeah, no, I would have to agree after listening to your music. I feel like, yeah, it's very intricate, like you just said. Like, it definitely is, the pen is definitely lethal when you take a second.
Also, I'm not a punchline oriented writer, so it's kind of like I'm more into wordplay, like kind of like seeds that we planted for the famous but could never grow. Like I'm just like that's a bar. Like,
yeah.
No.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
How you look at
Well, shit. All right, bro. Honestly, thank you so much for coming on. I don't have any other questions left in this or that, but yeah, we've been on for a little while, bro. But what were you gonna say?
Bro, thank you for everything that you just been doing and that you are doing for me, bro. I'm extremely appreciative. I'm excited for everything that's gonna come out of this, and I'm just excited you like gave me this platform that I can express myself and like why visually I feel like the songs I put out kind of matter, you know?
Of course, bro. Yeah, hell yeah. Thank you for letting us peek behind the curtain a little bit. But all right, bro. Well, shit. I'll probably call you tomorrow.
Yeah, tap in, bro.
All right, yeah. I'm gonna hit you.
All right.
Peace.